Welcome back, Fig and Fruit Nursery and Orchard. Today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about some of the maintenance that I do to my 4x9 trees that I sell. And then we're going to go over in greenhouse number 2 and we're going to plant some 7-gallon trees. I'm going to show you how I plant them. So stay tuned. All right. Got you along on my chest camera. I'm out doing a little maintenance on my 4x9 trees. Looks like this was kind of coming out of it. It had a little more present before we'll spray it again. I'm just out with my trusty bottle of sulfur. That's what I'm spraying my trees with. And I am, any place that's got these splotches on it, I'm spraying the back of the leaf, spraying the front of the leaf, spraying the bud and the new leaf too, because I'm trying to keep the bud mites under control and treated at all times. And it is a little bit of an ongoing process, but I'll be honest with you, I've been trying some different tactics, and I'm going to show you some other trees besides just my baby trees. Now you'll see these here, those trees down there they're ready to ship. They've been up potted all about at least a month, so they're all good to ship. I consider them in my inventory because they're in alphabetical order. Then I've got another bunch of trees, as you can see down through here, that are not in that group because they've been recently potted up. They're just trying to get over transplant from whatever I rooted them in, and plus we're out in the greenhouse, so they're acclimating to that as well. It can be a little tough, but they're getting along. But now these were done about 10 days ago. These are the container trees that I did. They're starting to, I don't know that one back there is going to make it, but at this point we'll see what makes it. There's a couple more that don't look too good. But now here's a new batch these are all fig pops that just recently got potted up. I don't know, there's probably at least about 120 or so there. Now you'll notice the ones that have been in the bag, they've had quite a bit of what could be possibly mite pressure. Maybe it's just because they've been in the bag under grow lights. Some don't look too bad, but nevertheless I'm going through and getting them all treated, because we just got these, we're all just up potted here in the last 24 or 48 hours or so. These were all I just got them all up potted. So I wanted to now get in here and get some of the sulfur on it, but I'm also trying something else along with this, because my mind goes to a place where I think that my gardener comes out in me is the fig mite just the symptom of the problem? Or is it really the problem, or is it trying to tell me something? So my first instinct means, well, you know, if it's trying to tell me something, my tree is a little weak and it's lacking some nutrients of some sort. Most likely it's lacking a micronutrient of some kind. So you're spraying sulfur on there, and that does help. but it's not always 100%. Neither has the green cleaner been 100%. I'm going to say it's 90 to 95% effective. But I'm starting to decide that you need to do a little bit more. And with this bunch here, I have already done that. And that is in what they've been potted up into. I have changed my fertilizer mix to what I was really using and added some more stuff to it to try to help that. And then on top of that, I'm still going through and treating the leaves for the mites. But then I'm going to feed it appropriately, as it has a nutrient deficiency, I believe. Because I have already started doing it on a few of my big trees, and I've noticed a difference. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go through and just start feeding everybody this mix and see how they act. And everybody's responded really well. The last, I'm going to say 10 days since I started this, since I've done this. As you can see, all of my new potted up trees, they're all loving life and growing well. And then, you know, even the potted trees, they're kind of actually brightened up quite a bit here. Still fighting a little bit of the mite damage here and there. And I started treating another tree over in greenhouse 1 that's always had this problem. So I'm going to, I've only fed it once, but I'm going to feed it several more times this particular fertilizer mix that I've went to using, and it has a lot of micronutrients in it. So let's take a look at what I'm doing here. So I've got you on my chest camera. We're going to come over here and look at what I'm using. So as you know, I already use the Grow Big. I started using that in my fig pops and just putting a little bit of this in there to help get them going. And then more so when I pot them up. But what I want to show you about this Grow Big from Fox Farm is it is a 6 nitrogen, a 4 phosphate, 4 potash. But then you got manganese, magnesium, boron, copper, iron, manganese, chelated manganese, zinc, chelated zinc. This is real good for the immune system to help your fig tree if it would have fig mosaic virus, to help it fight it off. You're gonna say, well, oh, but Troy, I don't want to use a fertilizer that's, you know, I like using organic stuff. Well, you know, sometimes you can't do that, but that's, you know, just the way it is. Sometimes you got to give it a Tylenol. But this is what I use as a base. Okay, I put this in there, but then this ain't all that I feed it. I also give it a 1/4 dose of this. This is iron. And it's micronutrient from Fox Farm. And it comes from soy protein. Not that that's good or bad or indifferent. So also give it a round of this with that. Some CalMag. Some more calcium, 3. Some magnesium. And the iron, what was the iron? The iron was 5% on this and 1% nitrogen. And then 1% nitrogen, 3% calcium, and 0.9% magnesium. That's 90% water soluble. So that's great. Cow mag. And then lastly, Kelp Me, Kelp You. And there's its numbers. But it has an additional copper and additional zinc that's also fully water soluble. And to me, that's really a bonus, that zinc. And have an appropriate amount of zinc with copper to feed it. And it has a little bit of nitrogen, 0.5% of nitrogen. So, and it looks like it has, yeah. So, I think that the idea is that maybe if it is, you know, missing some nutrients, you can maybe correct that with these things right here that will help its immune system fight off that fig mosaic virus, and help the tree grow, and then maybe you're not constantly, I haven't been constantly fighting them. This is only about the third time I've been through and sprayed, and all I ever do is spot spray. So let's go over in greenhouse number 1 and look at the one tree over there, because I need to spot spray it. Alright, here we are at my bass's favorite. Now it's been sprayed and spot sprayed, and you can see it's still exhibiting characteristics of a bud mite. I'm gonna shake it up. It does this sometimes. Just want to spray it again while we're here. This one here is getting better. That leaf looks a lot better. Spray this bud leaf again so it doesn't maybe happen yet. That's kind of what I do to it to try to help it. Just try to spray it. And kind of about all you can do, other than give it that feed. So I have treated this tree once with the fertilizer, and then it's had around a 12-12-12 like everything else got. But I'm going to give it a round of that Foxfire. Like I said, I've done it once, but we're going to do it again, just to, I'm gonna actually want to do it probably, I would like to think maybe 3 doses, and I'll just mix it accordingly, what it says on the instructions, except I will most likely go a little bit lower on the iron. I'll go about half of what it calls for in the iron, just because we have, I think, decent enough iron in our ground. I don't want to overdo the iron. Alright, so there's that. And that's just a sulfur. And I will probably in about, maybe in about 2 weeks, I will rinse the whole tree off so that what I got on my fruit doesn't stay on there, and it's cleaned off before it ripens. All right. I don't see anything else in here. Maybe a little bit right there. Gotta watch out. Gotta be getting our screen up because the birds are still getting in here. You can see I ain't even got this all the way up. It's only, it's about 5 foot off open on each end. And the sides are about 4 foot open. And them little things, they still come right on in here. They have no issue with it. Come right in here and hang out. And if you don't put screen over your openings, they will eat your figs. Let's go see what else we can find to get into. All right, well, my dogs decided that that little tree that was trying to grow back, my little Sussex tree, that it was better for a place to lay when it rained. This is where they come in here and congregated. Unfortunately, they dug up this tree and another little weak tree. So I guess that was just my ticket to, hey, get these things out of the ground and put some real trees in the ground. So I'm going to dig up this Sussex and put it back in a pot, and hopefully, like the figurine over there, it will take off. But in the meantime, I'm going to put something else here. And I'm going to plant back my detresse displace, and then I'm going to put a cage on it to keep the dogs out of it, since it's just a 4x9. So we're going to dig it up. Let's see what we got here. Just got my tater fork out. I didn't know how well it was rooted, so I thought, well, maybe they'd keep me from damaging too many roots if it's too rooted in, because if you use a shovel, you're definitely going to have to cut roots. So I thought I would use the tater fork. It's not a very strong tree anyway, so that might have been just enough setback to ruin it. But maybe, just maybe, we can get it to come back. Try to, like I said, save as much root here as I can. It's like all the dirt's coming off of it. It had a pretty good root structure there, didn't it? All right, there's what's left of my Sussex tree. Let's see if it's, see, it looks like it's probably got some life in it down in here. So we'll put this up in a pot and see if we can revive it. Maybe get it to do something, but it sure ain't doing nothing in here like this. All right, so we're going to start off. I'm going to do this a little different on this Sussex tree here. We're going to put the regular wood chip down in the lower half of it. Get it about half full. All right, I feel good about that. Now, let's go to the other dirt pile. Okay, back up just a little bit where you can see this. Can you see all this now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So what we got here is just what I use in my fig pops. This is just old fig pops that didn't make it dirt. So I'm just kind of recycling it. And on this Sussex, I didn't want to burn it up with just the arbor waste, because I feel like sometimes it might be a little hot, and since I'm trying to rejuvenate this thing, I am going to use this in on top of this, like this. We're just going to go ahead and put a layer in here, and we'll get our tree just in there like that. Don't really like that. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about that. It needed to be broke off anyway, way it was trying to wrap back around. This is a 7-gallon pot, but I'm not gonna maybe quite fill it up, because I want to leave just a little bit of this where it's got, you can see down in here where this is all still alive. That'll kind of give it a chance maybe to come back. So somewhere around in here. Right there's where that limb was, that little limb was that got broke off. So maybe we'll get it to come back from right there. All right. All right, so this is where the Sussex tree was. I dug it out there just kind of see what things look like, kind of loosen the ground up. But here's I'm gonna trace this place back over here. And I think it needs to be just about right there like that. I don't think it needs to be any deeper, and then it'll let me pile it up decently to it. We're gonna put the old dirt that was here back in the original hole. All right, now it's gonna have to have a little bit more on it. And that's what I bought this here for. This is just my regular mix of arbor waste, the perlite that I add to it, that's all. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, in order to make darn sure the dogs don't come in here and do a repeat for a little while, we're just going to put some protection around our fig tree. And now they can't dig it up. That should do it. That should keep them from digging it up. My tomato cage. I know it's 5 foot tall, but the tree gets so big it starts growing through that, then I'll know I need to do something different. But the main thing is just to keep the dogs from coming in here and digging it up like they did my other tree. They didn't really dig this tree up, but they just dug around it and broke it off. Now, on the other hand, my border barracuda, they dug it up and drug it off. The sad part was, on closer examination, it wasn't a very healthy tree when I found it to begin with. I cut off what I could salvage of it to try to root it, but I am just going to put another tree back in its place. So let's go do that. All right, so we're back over here where the old border barracuda was. We just want to take her tag off. May she rest in peace. Maybe the 2 little pieces I salvaged the root, maybe they won't. I'll get me another tree and we'll grow it out in a big pot. All right, so this is where it was at, and I'm going to plant this apple pie in here. I said opportunity, it was going to get the next opportunity, so it's time for an opportunity. So I'm not going to go very deep with this thing. It's in a 7-gallon. I like to dig a decent sized hole. Like I said, I'm not going to go real deep. And just for reference, right there's the edge of that. You can kind of see there where the dry is. I'm only about 6 inches deep, really. That's as deep as I really care to go. Maybe we'll go just a little bit more. I think that'll be enough. I just kind of, we're still about 6 inches deep. I just kind of clean it out a little more there. I don't think it really needs any more than that. Yeah, kind of like that. Actually, I'd like to get rid of that one and make this my main branch, and maybe keep this as my main branch. So we really only, just for fun, look, we'll just kind of, there we go. We can kind of see right there we're about 7 inches deep with the ground there. So we'll fill it in with what we dug out here. Kind of press it down in there. Then we will get out our usual wood chip mix, put around it, kind of mound it up there. All right, I think we got it covered up good. Hopefully the dogs will decide that they don't want to dig this big one up. They haven't dug up any big ones. I won't try to protect it, but I had said that it was going to be the next one. It looks like I need to turn this thing just a little bit, because this branch, it'll be all right. We'll go ahead and turn it just a little bit. There we go. Better now than later. I wanted to make sure I got it inside my box good. All right. It's official. Weeping apple pie got it a spot in my greenhouse. All right. All right. Here's the next one. This was where I was going to put the trace displace, since it got set its own spot. I'm just digging me out a somewhat of a square hole here. It's always good. Better off to probably dig a square hole than it is a round one when it comes to a tree. This is a 5 gallon, so I'm not going to go very deep. And you notice where it's kind of wet over here on the side? I'm just going to go about 3-4 inches deep. It's about as deep as I'm going to put this deminer out of this 5 gallon. This is mt.enta deminer. We're going to put here. Trying to get the label on here. All right, now let's get our tree up here. All right, it's like it's ready to go. We'll definitely be pruning this one back quite a bit. I don't know. It's got a couple nice nodes here, but I'll probably at least prune it back to about here at the end of the year. I think that's plenty deep enough. Let's put some this arbor. This definitely gives it more access to heat, and it helps keep it from having so much of a wet footprint back there where it ain't gonna like it. Don't, you know, fig trees don't particularly care to have wet feet, so hopefully this will help some of that. We're going to be putting on the other side, on the outside of the greenhouse, we're going to be putting in a drain tile all the way around the outside of the greenhouse to help shed some of the water that comes off of it, because we get a tremendous amount of rain. We're steadily approaching 60 inches for the year. All right, and that's how I like to plant my fig trees in the greenhouse. Nice above ground. You know, it's a good 8 inches or so above ground. So, all right, mt.enta the miner is in the ground. Thanks for watching. All right, so we're over here with the I-258. I got it potted. I got the pot full of the arbor waste that I put out everything in. This is part of our 35-gallon potted experiment. You know, this pot ain't got no bottom on it, so it can just grow right into the ground. But still, maybe it root zone will have more access to more heat and help it fruit earlier. All right, I-258 right there. This is its new home. Just a little more dirt down in there. It's got enough roots. It'll be just fine. All right. That cutting didn't even get started till like February, so don't look too bad. Now I have to let that get growing. I-258 has it a new home, so we'll see how that does in here in this compared to the other one. We have a black Madeira down on the other end. So, and I had this in ground, but it died over the winter, so luckily I had a cutting. Well, I hope you found some useful information there. Thanks for stopping by and watching today.